next project is Coffee Party. Annabelle, same young woman, in late January posted something on her Facebook page essentially saying that she is not cool with the media narrative that we've seen ever since 2008 election, that this tiny fraction of America that is incapable of accepting the outcome of that election is America. And all the rest of us aren't really paying attention, don't care, don't count. Well, that tiny little hole in this false veneer created just a deluge of work for me. Because it led to a fan page which now has 200,000 members. Annabelle posts something on that Facebook fan page. It's Facebook.com/coffeeparty. 1 million people read it. Annabelle's been on CNN 6 or 10 times, maybe 12 in the last 9 weeks. She's had a whole segment on Rachel Maddow's show, NPR. There's been local news stories all over the country. 13 days ago, we held between 450 and 500 meetings across the United States. Only 2 states have not yet had Coffee Party meetings. So I can't imagine when I'm going to be working on anything else, because it's a tremendous amount of work to try to catch up to these people, because we get more than 100,000 communications every week, and we have all volunteer, basically, staff. Many of them are people around the country we haven't met yet. We only know from conference calls. But essentially what we're doing is we're trying to reinvigorate our democracy across party lines, across any kind of issue differences, and give people a framework and a setting where they can feel safe saying what they think. And one of our big tenets is a civility pledge. We ask people to promise, even if you disagree with someone, not to call them a socialist, a Nazi, or a racist, and label them as your enemy. And it's working out really well. And we're building and we're growing, and these past few weeks during the congressional recess, there's been meetings all over the country between Coffee Party members and congressmen, and guess what? No shouting. People listen to each other and collaborate on solving the problems that we face. And it's messy, it's a beautiful mess, but it's the best time I've ever had in my life. It's, some of the same things that happened, it's a backlash in 9500 Liberty are happening to us now. But once you sort of accepted the fact that, as scary as it is to stand up to people who organize around very, very negative emotions, it's even scarier to let them take over your government. So you got to do it. Raise your hand again if you're already in the Coffee Party. Okay, so 30% of you are. The rest of you, talk to one of these people with their hand up, or talk to me afterwards. Yes, sir.
Thank you for the goobers. And also, you've been invited to the Sundance Film Festival with East Side Rouse to screen your picture there where a little private event is happening.
Really? Awesome. I like Sundance. My first film showed there. It sort of started my career. Thank you.
We have time for one more question.
So I noticed there was one part where so many people said wrong views. I know how so many of his views were based on God. How do you think that somebody can misinterpret or interpret how they want to? Sometimes they might say, okay, I think Jesus would want to get all the healing with everyone else.
Yeah. Why don't I let you ask yours as well, and I'll try to synthesize.
Wasn't it Prince William County that during the civil rights, the Supreme Court wanted...
Prince Edward County.
Okay, never mind. And it was Prince something county.
Yeah, it's related, actually. When Brown versus Board of Education came down, Virginia was one of those states that was very defiant and basically said, well, you know what? If we have to desegregate our schools, we just won't have schools. And it was called Massive Resistance. You should look it up. It's a whole other story. But yeah, in some ways we're dealing with the same people. They were young then, they're old now. But yeah, there's a lot of racial antagonism in Virginia's history. To answer your question, I'm not actually religious, so it's hard for me to respond to that. We have a great series of videos on YouTube where we have members of the clergy respond to that. In fact, that video, when that was posted to YouTube, was the beginning of Greg Latique's undoing. And the irony is that he was so proud of himself for articulating it as beautifully and eloquently as he did, that he immediately after the interview said, I want you to put that on YouTube. And I was like, oh, I don't think it's really relevant, you know. I mean, that's what I was thinking, you know. So I didn't post that. I did a couple videos about Greg, but I didn't include that. And then he emailed Annabelle and he said, Annabelle, I want that stuff about Jesus and God and all that stuff. Okay, so we posted it. And just to give Greg some cover, I found other people who believed the same thing and kind of just threw it in there so he wouldn't be exposed. Because I still wanted to have a good rapport with Greg because he's in some ways the star of my movie, right? And by the way, I would totally cast him again in some sort of superhero movie. Maybe not the hero, but anyway. He put that on his blog really proudly. And his own people, as, you know, as pliant as they had been up to that point, when they saw that video, there were people who quit immediately. There were people who gave him hell on his blog, and he had to eventually, and he must have spent 40 hours, like 5 days in a row, full time, fighting against his own people, trying to explain his views. And this was not long before the election. So they were very concerned, because really for most of these people, it's not that they were really racist, they were just partisans. And they thought this was the issue that would help Republicans win. So Greg eventually closed off the comments, and he, even though at the top of this enormous long thread said 9500 Liberty has a beautiful video that's true and everything, at the bottom he said 9500 Liberty took my words out of context.
So you're going to be here all weekend through tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow there's a screening at 10 a.m. Please tell your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards we have a brief coffee party. Are we going to go to Starbucks again? Is that right? Okay, Starbucks, which is like in the same complex, but it's a whole mile that way. And then I'm going to jump in a plane and go to San Diego, where members of San Diego Coffee Party are going to meet with their congressman, and the Tea Party has decided to crash it to make sure that nobody can get any words in edgewise. So that should be fun. You'll see video. Okay.
So thank you for being here. If you have further questions, please, you'll be out in the tent.
Yeah, we'll go to the tent.
And again, turn your ballots in, and thanks for staying.